Hey, I'm Kyle, and this is an introduction to the Movie Spreadsheet, which is something that I have been updating daily for the last 3 or 4 years. As I watch movies, I add them to the spreadsheet. I rate the movies based off different categories that I've created and I deem to be significant for a film's overall score. And then I get an overall score, and I sort all of my movies by the overall score, leaving essentially a power ranking of movies. And I love it. And I love talking about it. I love making review videos and talking about where the movies place on it. And I love discussing this with anybody that wants to discuss it. So please comment, like, subscribe, share. Happy to discuss any movie and watch movies that aren't on the spreadsheet yet. So let's get into how I calculate my ratings. Now, the first thing that you should know is that all categories are rated on a scale of 0 to 10. Now, just because a score is a 4, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's bad. The way that my ratings work is that if I give something a 0, it's awful, it's the worst, I hated it. And on the other end, if I give something a 10, it means it's awesome, I loved it, it's great, it's the best. Okay? 1, 2, and 3, scores of 1, 2, and 3 represent it's bad. 4, 5, and 6 represents it's okay. And then 7, 8, and 9 represents it's okay. It's great. It's good. Okay. Now, essentially what I do is I ask myself, like, how is the length, which is one of my categories for this movie? Is it bad? Is it too long? Is it too short? Is it okay? Or is it good? Is it appropriate? And then once I have the answer to that question, now I know if I'm giving it a score of 1 through 3, 4 through 6, or 7 through 9, or occasionally, zeros and tens. Now, let's talk about my categories. So each of my categories are weighted to give me an accurate reflection of how much I value that category in my film's overall rating. The first category is entertainment. And for me, it's 50% of the overall score. This is a really easy category to justify. I'm watching a movie to be entertained. If I'm not entertained, it shouldn't get a good score. That's why 50% of the overall score is entertainment. Now, the next category is the most important category on my spreadsheet. It's the one that I tinkered with the most when I was creating it. It is what allows me to compare horror movies and comedy movies on the exact same spreadsheet. And this category is called achievement of goal. It's essentially asking and comparing movies across the different genres. How scary is 28 years later versus how funny or how good of a family movie is Minecraft? And that's what allows both those movies to be on the same category or in the same spreadsheet. Now, the third category that I have is called ending. So that's 20% of the overall score. I just think good movies that have bad endings end up being bad movies, and bad movies that have good endings end up being movies that are okay to watch. So ending is really important to me. My fourth category is length at 5% of the overall score. It doesn't seem significant, but that length does play a factor in the overall ranking of the movies. And then finally, I have an up to 10% penalty deduction. And so a 0 would be no penalty. A 10 would be a full point off. 5 would be half a point off or 0.5 points off. And this is simply for those things in movies that just don't belong. And this is obviously going to vary from person to person, but for me, it ends up being things like too gruesome, the language, the soundtrack, the cinematography, the acting. It can be anything you want it to be. And then obviously in my reviews, I justify it. So that's it. That's everything. Now, my question to you is, what categories are significant for you? And let's create your spreadsheet. Let's fill it out. Let's watch movies. Thanks.